The same people, networks that are behind the hysterical explosion of censorship, of alternative information in Silicon Valley are all the same people. You look at who controls Facebook. Zionists. Who controls Google? Zionists. Who controls YouTube? Zionist, owned by Google. And these are the people that are shutting down the circulation of information to expose what the same networks are doing.
New Zealand's taken centre stage as world leaders and some of the biggest tech companies on the planet gathered to eliminate terrorist and violent extremist content on the internet. Jacinda Ardern opened the online Christchurch Cool Summit, which included French President Emmanuel Macron along with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The initiative was launched 2 years ago as a response to the mosque shootings, which left 51 people dead.
In 4 years, he went to something like 70 countries. It is now confirmed in the final report where he travelled and what he did. And you'll probably have to do a search. The list is, scroll down, show people how long this list is. It's Southeast Asia, East Asia, multiple
China,
times,
Philippines,
China, Central,
Armenia?
Kyrgyzstan, Armenia, Ukraine for 1 month, followed by a week in Russia.
Yeah, India, Iran. Wow.
Then he's going back home, back
He was doing
to
a tour.
China, Nepal, Turkey, Greece.
He was doing a tour of the CIA bases of the world.
Back into Eastern Europe, Hungary. I couldn't find it in time for the show, but something dodgy happened a couple of years ago where there was a scandal in Austria. It's the one that made the government fall, where there was a honey trap, and the vice chancellor got caught talking to someone posing as a Russian heiress. She wasn't. She was a plant.
Well, she wanted favourable coverage in the media for Russia in exchange for investment.
Yeah. And he fell, and it took the whole government down with it. An interesting thing in the middle of that was that the British intelligence couldn't help but pipe up to let the Austrians know that because, well, it was a kind of a stick to help the process along for the government to fall. Just prior to him falling, they said, we're going to have to remove Austria from this list of select countries that get special intelligence. For example, we have special information here about the Christchurch shooting and the fact that he visited Austria, So we're just letting you know that this special information will be withheld from you until someone in Austria, behind the scenes, makes the right decision. And then you'll be let back into this club of secret special intelligence.
Moves away from Russia, basically. Or becomes antagonistic.
It doesn't matter what exactly the point is. They were sending a message to someone in the know high up in Austria that you're out of this club that involves special information about people who carry out massacres of Muslims the far side of the world, halfway to almost in Antarctica, ostensibly as a white supremacist.
And it can happen anywhere, and we have the information on it, and we may or may not share that with you. So
depending on how you behave politically.
Because we organize
it was rank internal interference in, obviously, affairs of a small country, and it involved something that shouldn't. The media said it was just a white supremacist Nazi who decided to go massacre a bunch of Muslims.
Well, this guy in Buffalo is not just a white supremacist Nazi who decided to go and kill some black people in Buffalo in America. Put up the Buffalo JPEG. You'll be shocked to see this, Neil. I want to see the shock on your face when you read this one.
It's hard to shock me these days, Joe. Insider, Russia could strike back at the West by calling on its network of white supremacist groups to commit terror attacks there.
It's so predictable. That headline is so predictable. I mean, obviously I wasn't shocked, although I am a little bit surprised sometimes when they are so flagrant about it,
The way the connections are made with carefully placed information in the media. Remember, these guys don't say jack. They do the thing and then they're voiceless thereafter. Yeah. The only thing that speaks for them is a manifesto found somewhere and anonymously given to CNN, etc.
Yeah, that they filled in.
That they filled in a form
apparently
somewhere. The commission believed the Christchurch shooter was significantly influenced by the Oslo terrorist, finding similarities in his preparation, bulking up, joining a rifle club, etc. When interviewed by police, Brenton Tarrant referred to the reborn Knights Templar. Okay, the scroll. This is the most interesting part. Tarrant, said the reference was a red herring authorities were, quote, supposed to follow, but not eat the damn thing. Okay, this is someone else speaking now. The purpose was to add apparent credibility to his otherwise not very plausible narrative that he had received international support for his planned attack. It's diabolical because, in a sense, they're saying, yes, there's a network. Mm-hmm. But we've covered it with a false flag.
The Knights Templar were a bunch of Satanists, basically, kind of like neo-Nazis today.
What's his name? Breivik had the same thing in his manifesto. He even posed for photographs that somebody took of him in full garb. Mm-hmm. Freemasonic garb is one, like scuba gear and harpoon is another, and a third is some kind of Templar symbol on his suit or something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So whoever he's talking to gets him to believe he's just joined a secret society. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
Templar
Al-Qaeda.
Reborn.
Or Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. But
Similar.
in fact, like Al-Qaeda, it's actually just a database of useful idiots.
Right.
You can manipulate.
And the person swearing you into this secret society is an FBI informant or other intelligence agency informant.
Yeah, one of the alphabet soup.
Yeah.
Today's virtual meetings aimed at checking progress and looking at global priorities for the year ahead. More and more countries now, including the United States, are joining the Christchurch call, which also has support from tech giants including Facebook, Google, Amazon, YouTube, Twitter and Microsoft. Here's Kate Nichol-Williams with more details about the International Summit.
A massacre intended for an online audience. The Christchurch terrorist live streaming his killing spree on Facebook. 2 months later, government and tech companies from around the world met in Paris and set a bold goal: eliminating violent extremist content from the internet, a commitment known as the Christchurch Call.
I don't think I necessarily at the time when we brought the call together would have imagined that 2 years on we would have seen the progress that we had and the ongoing commitment.
Heads of state, community organisations and the likes of Amazon and YouTube reporting back today on what's been done.
We've just launched a new legislation that will require all these tech giants swiftly to identify and take down illegal content.
We need to set the bar higher.
The United States, the latest to join, fuelling talk on whether the new administration will make social media platforms more responsible for what's posted.
We believe we can fight terrorism and respect people's rights and freedoms at the same time.
Since the Christchurch terror attack, social media giants have changed how they moderate content and live streams.
Since the Christchurch call, we've made substantial progress, but we recognize further refinement is needed to our content incident protocol.
Your platform restricts speech.
Our platform promotes speech unless people violate our rules.
And in a specific direction.
In any direction.
But I don't want to say his name. The guy who calls for death gets a suspension. The guy who insinuates death gets a permanent ban.
But Tim, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying, and I feel like you're doing it deliberately. It's not about one particular thing. It's about a pattern and practice of violating our rules.
And you have a pattern and practice of banning only one faction of people.
I don't agree with that.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
It is a much more severe violation, given what we're seeing on the ground. We are going to actually be more aggressive in our enforcement beyond de-amplification.
I don't look at the political spectrum of people when I'm looking at their tweets.
Right, you have a bias.
I don't know who they are.
You're biased, and you're targeting specific individuals because your rules support this perspective.
No, I don't agree with that.
After all, a bullet takes a life. A bomb takes out a whole village. A lie online or from a podium does not. But what if that lie, told repeatedly and across many platforms, prompts, inspires or motivates others to take up arms?
Her words are fine, but your words, repeated enough times, could be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb.
It will also be important in understanding more about mis and disinformation online, a challenge that we must as leaders address.
She glosses over how any restrictions on speech and communication would impact our ability to discuss issues freely. And who exactly is deciding what is true and what is false? Politicians? Do you trust politicians to make that call? Do you trust anyone to make that call? The sort of authoritarian-minded people who tend to desire that level of control over speech are the very last people you would want making the decisions. And we know this because of the inflammatory language Ardern uses to sell her idea to the world.
How do you ensure the human rights of others are upheld when they are subjected to hateful and dangerous rhetoric and ideology? The weapons may be different, but the goals of those who perpetuate them is often the same.
Brendan O'Neill from Spiked summarised it best. Tyranny has had a makeover. It's no longer a boot stamping on a human face forever. It isn't a gruff, gurning cop dragging you into a cell for thinking or expressing a dangerous idea. It isn't a priest strapping you to a breaking wheel. No, authoritarianism is well dressed now. It's polite. It has a broad smile and it speaks in a soft voice. It is delivered not via a soldier's boot to the cranium, but with a caring liberal head tilt. And its name is Jacinda Ardern.
Russia is using cyber. Kieran's made a reference to Russia and cyber. They're using cyber as part of a wider effort to attack and undermine the international system. And its interference over the past year has included attacks on the public sector, media, telecommunications and energy sectors. And the cooperation between our nations allowed us to trace February's NotPetya hack to Russia. And since last month's attack in Salisbury, Moscow has been waging a concerted campaign of cyber disinformation.
There's an agreement between New Zealand and the US and Twitter because Twitter decided to really exchange some data about the algorithm. I'd like to really praise them for this because this is an important step forward. And what we would like to do really is to decide that, and to acknowledge formally that if you don't know anything about the way algorithms are designed, you can't be sure that algorithms won't really amplify the violent content. So we really want to have an algorithm partnership. We want to share information so as to be as efficient as possible with all the stakeholders. But we should also moderate the platforms, because for the time being, platforms don't moderate the content sufficiently.
Specifically on the algorithm research initiative, this is where we have an initial partnership with Microsoft, Twitter, New Zealand and the United States in open mind. And what we're working on here is infrastructure that allows us to create privacy and protection around proprietary issues, but then allows us to still have independent researchers access data that helps them understand the use of algorithms. And once we're able to build that platform, that could be used across multiple platforms. So it's not unique to just, for instance, Twitter or one singular platform. It should be infrastructure that we can use more widely.
Elon Musk. So let's step back. Mm-hmm. So I would tell you that we've been fighting hate for, again, over almost 110 years. Mm-hmm.
Nigga, please. Nigga.
Facebook is the front line of fighting hate today. Mm. And social media is a super spreader of anti-black racism, anti-Jewish hate, anti-Asian hate, etc. So literally, we opened a center in Silicon Valley back in 2017. And the woman who runs it, she's an ex-Facebook executive. I have software engineers and data scientists working at ADL. We're monitoring all this stuff. And we're working with all the platforms, by the way. Google and YouTube and Meta and Twitter and Reddit and Steam and Amazon, all these companies. From like Apple to Zoom, we work with all of them, okay? That's relevant because we've been working with Twitter now since it was founded. We worked with the old regime, working with the new regime. I wasn't a big fan of the management at old Twitter. Like old Twitter has been like a hellscape for a long time.
How about Jack Dorsey then? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and we worked with his staff on almost a daily basis, certainly a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes there were a lot of issues. Now, Elon, I think Elon is somebody who wants to do the right thing because he wants to make the business work.
Yacarino, the CEO.
So you see X Safety announcing July 1st. This happened just 5 days ago. Nobody noticed. Hardly anybody reported on it. We're excited to announce that X has reinstated our relationship with WFA Marketers Global Alliance for Responsible Media. As of today, X is included as a member of GARM here. Well, let's go. Let's check out that GARM website, huh? Because we need to know what's going on with that. World Federation of Advertisers. Membership of GARM is open to advertisers, ad tech platforms, media agencies, platforms, and industry associates. Members support the GARM operations via an annual membership fee and expected to appoint representatives to be members of the GARM community. We also collaborate with industry associate members to ensure as many people as possible understand our network. Remember Bridge, remember DEI, right? All this kind of stuff. This is what we're talking about. So you see a lot of buzzwords, right? On GARM, you see all these companies who are part of it. Nike, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, TikTok, YouTube, X. Now you can see proudly displayed on this website right here. Okay. So this is not fake news. All right. But what is GARM? Well, let's go to the WEF website, the World Economic Forum. By the way, every time I mention that word, I know that this video will get further suppressed. So please, after the video, make sure, some point during the video, leave a like on it.
Hey guys, if you want to watch more clips, click here.
And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here.